Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I have some lovely things to share with you today. I have a beautiful happy mail from Rhonda. I have some Thrifty Thursday goodies that I didn't get to share on Thursday, and then I have some that I'm going to call Shopping Saturday goodies, which are some new goodies that I just couldn't resist getting, and I think you might be excited about them too, particularly if you love bright colours, if you love reproduction feedsack fabrics, 1930s, keep an eye out. I've got some fascinating vintage or antique books about, I guess, the heritage also of doilies and linens, and then a lovely little French pattern book. I've got some interesting fibres that we can use in our stitching, even though I think these ones are designed for knitting. And I've got some lovely little vintage and antique finds as well, some goodies from the Sewing Lair. So stay tuned and we will work our way through this stash of goodness on the desk. But I might start out with this lovely happy mail from the dear Rhonda. I sent Rhonda a package a little while ago of some slow stitching supplies, and I also sent her one of my little rabbits, and she sent me back this beautiful card. Just love it. I can imagine that being stitched into a picture, and she has sent me a piece of her mother's stitching, and I just think that is such a precious gift. Thank you so much, Rhonda. You really touched my heart with that, and I'm going to be honouring both yourself, Rhonda, and your mum, and doing a special project with it. I've actually already picked out some supplies from my little scrap bundle that I recently shared a video where I showed how I make these little scrap lollies inspired by Beck from So Be Curated, and I've selected out some colours that I think are going to go beautifully with the embroidery. I've got this lovely velvet vintage ribbon, so stay tuned for a project that's going to honour this beautiful gift from Rhonda. So I'm just going to keep Rhonda's card with it. Thank you so much, Rhonda. That is incredibly kind. I always say to people when I'm sending them something, no expectation. I send things out for the joy of sharing my bounty, but I am so appreciative when people send me kindness, whether it's a card and a little something. It is so lovely to be thought of, but absolutely no expectation on anyone. So I'll move these little bundles out of the way while we have a look at a couple of the vintage finds first. So those go with those. So I thought we might start with this bundle of goodies from the lovely Mac and Morgan. So Mac and Morgan is on Instagram, and I'll link to them below. That's Julie from Mac and Morgan. And I just kind of collect things up over a little while, and then Julie tallies them all up for me and sends them to me. But she's sort of regularly posting things on her Instagram, and if people want to buy them, they just post sold on them, and that is then first in, first served, and Julie will then kind of create a little bundle and send it. I think she only sends within Australia, but you could always reach out to Julie to ask. So first up we have this very sweet little Sejou album. And it's an album of letters. And you know I love my sort of vintage haberdashery, vintage sort of stitching ephemera, and I just thought this was lovely. And I had an idea because I'm pretty sure these will be out of copyright. One, because Sejou, the original Sejou that produced these, went out of business essentially, and I've looked back to the date of these, and you can actually date them by the address on them, and they're definitely in the range that they would be, the date of them would be out of copyright. So what I'm thinking I can do is scan in these little pages, and I thought if I printed them on fabric they would make lovely little letters to attach to projects, or if I'm sending something to someone I can give them their initials. So I thought that could be a fun little thing. I'm probably not going to stitch the letters, but I just thought they could make some lovely little labels, and I just think this book is absolutely lovely. Even the cover I think would be just beautiful to print onto some fabric and enjoy, even the back as well. It's got Fantasie sur pluche drap tour. My French isn't good enough to know all these words. I know some of them. But everything in French always sounds very romantic and very, very special. So that's that little booklet, which I think is lovely. I'll get to this little cabinet in a moment, and it does have some components, but let's open up a couple of the other packages. So these are all from Mac & Morgan. Oh yes, now I remember I got a bundle of lovely gloves and bits and pieces. Oh, this is a little like modesty collar that would go inside of a dress or something, and it has these lovely little areas of mending because it's obviously been well loved, well used, and I just think that is gorgeous, and this beautiful, beautiful lace on it. So isn't that a little timeless treasure? And the fact that that would just sort of go around and be your little sort of modesty at your neck. See, I would happily even add that if I was wearing a little outfit or a little jacket or something. I think that would be incredible, but I don't know how fragile it is, so we'll have to give it a gentle wash and see. And then a very sweet little handkerchief. Gorgeous, gorgeous embroidery on that. Or not embroidery, yeah, well, embroidery and the lace work. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And I do have a plan for all my vintage hankies and some of my newer ones to make a little book. Pair of gloves. I'm going to see if my hands fit in. I do have nice small hands, so often they will fit a glove, and these actually fit like a glove. They are perfect. I thought otherwise I'll kind of just add them. I do have a collection of vintage gloves because I do love them. Don't even mind that they have a little bit of staining on them. I would happily actually wear these. They feel beautiful inside. Sometimes you have to be careful because the gloves can get quite sort of fragile, but these look like they've probably had some glove moisturising or been looked after well. Look at these lovely little spots there. So yeah, they're beautiful. So those may well be used as well because we're getting into that time of year where it gets very, very chilly. I can have a pair of driving gloves, can't I? Look very fancy. And so Mac & Morgan gets a lot of their goodies from France, but I think they source from other places as well. I remember buying this one. It was a dog, and I thought, no, I can't resist that. A little dog and a bird, so it's like, and a Vespa, so it's all my favourite things in one, and it's a baby's bib, but I just thought that is absolutely adorable, and it's actually not a particularly tricky embroidery, so I might need to make a Travis coloured one, so a nice sort of black Labrador would be a good one. Probably just give his ears a tiny bit more point to them, and I just think that is super cute. I do have trouble resisting when there's sweet little things, and here's a little donkey that came with it as well, so a second little bib. Isn't that cute? Donkey carrying a basket of goodies. So these go with this little stand, so we'll keep opening the other packages. It is like Christmas when you get something where you've kind of been shopping over a period, and then I actually said to Julie, I said, I can't remember what I bought, but can you give me the tally up? So it's a bit of a delight when you get them. Beautiful, beautiful floral embroidery. Just love the colours on this one, and in beautiful condition. Absolutely gorgeous. And then another one as well. Isn't that lovely? Love how these are done in the sort of different coloured, either it's a variegated thread or they've just used some different colours to just add that interest to the lab. I think these are meant to be lavenders. Let's get that little bit of fluff off. Another beautiful one. And then I think I got some vintage postcards or cards perhaps, I can't remember. Yes, here they are. Beautiful flowers on them. I'll show you the fronts first, then we'll have a look at the backs. Lovely, isn't that beautiful? It's got the stamp on it. I love how it's got the writing 1905. Does this have a date on the stamp? Hard to tell, but I love that. That is just so sweet. Again, it's got beautiful writing on the front. Here it's got another stamp, very special. Another lovely one, another stamp, and another lovely one. So I thought these might be nice to even scan in and put on fabrics and then stitch into. So this one's not written on the back. This one's got some lovely writing. Rue Saint-France, Paris. Wow, 3 Rue, so the street, Saint-France. I'll have to look up where that is, if it still exists. Presumably it does. Rue de la Jurisdiction, I think, in Bayeux. So it's interesting, right? They wrote the addresses there, and then they wrote their sort of messages on the front. And that's Rue, can't quite read that, in Angers. Beautiful stamp on the back here. Or, yeah, I'm not sure, Par Bruchet, not sure. I have to look up some of these places. See, it's lovely when you get these old things that there's whole stories to be discovered if you just have the time to do it. That one, it looks like the stamp has been soaked off. Bon fête. Mesure. Beautiful. So they are little treasures as well. Then onto this. This is a cabinet and it's got its original label on it. It's made in Wales. And so that's Gweithlor. I could never say any of these things, so I won't try and say them, especially that one. I wouldn't even be able to say that or that. But I'll bring it up a bit closer in case you can't see it down there. And so you can have a look at it if you want to look it up. So I thought it was incredibly sweet. It's like a little display cabinet. Obviously it will sit up this way, but I'll leave it this way so you can see it. And then Julie from Mac & Morgan again had some beautiful things that she had sitting in it that I was able to purchase with it. And so these are Limoges miniature crockery. So let me get it out very carefully and give you a bit of a look. So I'll just pop them here as we go. So a beautiful little teapot, a little milk jug, and they've got the lovely little designs on them. Let me just zoom in so you can see. Another little pot. Another little pots. I think these lids probably go in these little pots. Yep. So a little cup there. Look how sweet that is. So sweet. And a little drink cup. There's a name for that, isn't there? But I just can't think of that one at the moment. A goblet, I guess. Is that a goblet? Sort of, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And then there's these sweet little plates. Hoping you can see the tiny little designs on them and the gold gilt edges. I just had never seen anything so sweet before. I guess it's like a little doll's house sort of sized set, but to have them from Limoges is just precious. And then another little teacup with a beautiful blue flower on it. Oops. Another little lid, which probably goes in that one over here. Another little lid goes in the other pot over here. And then another little milk jug. And it's decorated on both sides with a different flower on each side. So how sweet is that? And then There was also, originally I didn't pop down sold on this, but then I thought, no, I can't leave the little doggy behind. He was sitting on the cabinet too, but I thought he could sit eventually at the front of the cabinet. But let me bring him up and give you a little look at the sweet little doggy. Absolutely gorgeous. Germany, it has Germany on the back, so it's a little Germany doggy. And then there was this little one, which I think is a little easel, which I thought would be lovely to put a bit of slow stitching or something on. Look at it. It's an actual little easel that sits out like that. But look at the detail on it. So sweet. And so you can put a little easel in there with some work on it, some stitching on it, or a little painting or something. And I was thinking this cabinet would be lovely to put some little, even if I made like a little miniature quilt, and I could have that sort of just hanging off, or even stacked some little mini bits of quilts put into the cabinet perhaps. So these drawers don't open. It actually looks like someone at some point has tried to jemmy some of the drawers open, but they're just done with sort of woodwork on the front to make them look like a drawer. Again, let me focus back down into the cabinet. But I just think that is so incredibly sweet. So I'm just going to move this behind me for a moment. Just don't want to break anything in it because it is incredibly sweet. Then we might come down a bit. I'm just going to bring the camera down now that we've kind of cleared a bit of space, and we can have a look at some of our other goodies. So I'll put that over there, put that over there, and get rid of the rustling bag. So I'll next up show you my goodies from the Sewing Lair. So these are Thrifty Thursday goodies. Sewing Lair is in Queensland, but they send Australia-wide. They put things on their website. They've also got an in-person store as well. And they've recently just they will have a look in their store if they've got things that you want. So they've got a little Facebook group. And I had mentioned that I like vintage trims, and they found me this, and I think it was just a couple of dollars, and it's really sweet. It's got little rabbits on it, and lovely sort of colourful embroidery. It's not super old, but I did think it was very, very cute and lovely of them to look for it. I think that's why it's got ISO on it. In Search Of is a new little service that they offer. And I love that it looks like some of their volunteers have packed it, and look how sweet this writing is. Thanks, Pippa and Lily. So thank you for shopping sustainably with us. So all their goods are donated. They're a charity. They do lots of great community work. So I love keeping an eye out and buying things from them. So these ones are actually from a Facebook seller. So I'll just bring over first of all the Sewing Lair goodies. So this is a lovely piece of beautiful, it's quite sort of, it's a tight weave, but it's quite nice and thin. I think it's like a voile essentially, but beautiful design on it. It's called Schwartz Liebman Textiles. It didn't have a name for the particular design on it. I looked online and didn't spot it when I just searched on that designer's name, but I haven't done a reverse image search to see. But plenty of that, and I thought that was just really soft and lovely. Some purple buttons, because I love my small little buttons, and I thought, no, I don't have as many little purple ones, so now I have plenty of little purple ones. Put those over with my buttons. They sent me a thank you gift, which is some lovely cotton. Very generous to do that because they're a charity and they're already doing such good prices on things. Got this lovely linen. It's got a beautiful weight to it. Let me see if it's got a selvage on it, but you can see it's a really nice solid linen, and I thought the design would be lovely to do stitching into. It's an outline that you can then add all your own colours to, but I like the background's just nice and neutral. It gives some space, it gives some rest if you're doing some really intense stitching into it. This would make a really lovely bag because again it's just got that really nice solid texture. So I can definitely have the mind worrying about possibilities for that. Got this beautiful pinky apricot-y colour. I'll just make sure I'm staying in focus. Lovely floral design, and again it's just a nice colour. And again, I like these sort of sketchy, the designs where it feels like it's sort of etched or sketched. This one is one of those polished cottons, so would have been used, I think, for like homewares, upholsteries, etc. Wexford Bouquet Stripe, but I thought the colours were really lovely. Yellows, kind of reminded me a bit of Dotty B, Sally from Dotty B, who you can find on YouTube as well. I just thought, yeah, really, really lovely. And I thought these sorts of polished cottons are probably really good to put inside bags as linings, or inside pouches as a lining, because it would have a bit of resistance to any staining or if something spilt, etc. In a pouch. So, and I think you can stitch through it okay. Let me just grab a needle and have a little look. Oh no, that's one of my funny needles. Let's just get a normally needle. Sorry, I was just bumping the stand. Yeah, so it leaves a tiny mark, but I think it's one of the, oh yeah, as you rub it, it kind of, yeah, closes. Definitely stitchable through, probably got a bit more resistance than a pure non-polished cotton. I don't know if they put some sort of, yeah, covering on this. And then another big piece of upholstery type, probably like a curtain fabric, because it's got that sort of, yeah, that lining on it. Again, let's just test how it goes for having a needle through it. So that's fine. Very easy to put the needle through. I was putting the needle through 2 layers of that, mind you, before the other one. And so, yeah, beautiful big designs on it. But yeah, it's just got a really classic look to it. With the Sewing Lair, you're just buying the quantity that they have listed, so it's not like you get small ones unless you buy some of their scrappy sort of packs, then you get smaller bits of fabric, but otherwise you're getting quite decent sized bits of fabric. This one was listed as a silk. I think it is a silk. I'd have to test it to see for sure, but I just couldn't resist the really delicate but nice and sort of bright designs on it. And it's got a lovely line, sort of lines through it, but then the beautiful, beautiful flowers on it. And they're wrapping their things up beautifully in pattern fabrics and putting ribbons around them, so it's just really sweet. Now this one I was so excited to find on their site. It's called the Doily Show, an exhibition of women's domestic fancy work, and it happened here in Australia, and there's a really interesting story to it. I'm just looking how I'm going for time. I think we're okay on time. So it was an exhibition put together by a group, I think it was a group of women. There might have been, we'll look at their names in a moment. And it was funded or sponsored, supported by the Crafts Board of the Australia Council. And it was all about honouring the artwork of all the people that had made doilies in Australia and honouring the tradition behind that, including when we sort of shifted from having designs that were more British inspired through to actually showing Australia in the doily and embroidery and crochet design. So absolutely fascinating. And I love some of the work inside this. So it was put on by the Women's Domestic Needlework Group. So Frances Budden, Joan Grounds, Bernadette Crone, Kathy Latreille, Patricia McDonald, Murray McMahon, Noella Taylor and Loretta Viacelli. Now I've looked up and I couldn't see any recent references to this particular group, but it was first exhibited in 1979. And then when I was looking online, I found that some of the galleries, including the National Gallery of Victoria, had purchased some of the larger panels that I think are illustrated in this book, but they'd purchased them from the exhibition and they now have them in their collection. So that is very interesting. So 1979, so a short while after I was born, which is amazing. And so I'm really going to enjoy reading this, but we'll have a little flip through and we might come back to it in a future video, because I do probably have some of the examples of some of the doilies that are talked about So the introduction is really interesting because they include a quote from Joan Sutherland, who's lamenting the fact that money is going into getting out teachers to teach needlepoint when it should actually be spent on opera. But the book, or the introduction goes on to say, to talk about the importance of needlework, but also, I guess, from a bit of a feminist perspective, that by calling it women's work, it was devaluing it. And making it women's labour, trivialising it. So I just love the commentary around this, and it is very true, and that's why I do like to think about what we're doing as art. It is art. We are artisans. We are creating, and it is actually something that should be honoured and valued. So isn't this wonderful? And these little pictures of people over the ages working. The art of the needle has its roots in our daily life. Of all branches of art, it is the most simple, intimate and democratic, and is therefore indispensable for the artistic and educational development of the people. That was from 1927, a quote. And I love that it talks about Aboriginal Australia, and the fact that these traditions of textiles and fibres go back long before white people came to Australia. Stitching across Australia, Waratah doilies and emu milk covers, work for the dainty figures, women in the back blocks, and then just to start seeing some of the examples and some things that I've actually got in my collection as well. And so the wattle, the koala bear, the Australian homestead up there. Might just bring you up a bit so you can see the full picture of the book. Hopefully we can fit it mostly in. Yep. Stand up and make sure that we can see, yes. And the lovely little triangle pieces. I've got some doilies with the lyrebird on it, the Sydney Bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge. Sewing for Profit, that's a piece for making lace. And then the catalogue of what was in the exhibition itself, so it'll be just lovely to look through my own collection and compare it to some of the pieces that were in the exhibition. I think I've got one that's a souvenir de Bruges somewhere in my collection as well, so that would have come from overseas. Got some of these little cat ones, so they were a very common design, the little cat juggling. Little unfinished white cotton tray cover, filling the tea pot spoils the tea. Some animals under a tree, the kookaburra. Oh no, sorry, magpie actually. That looks almost like the kookaburra body. And then that's a parrot. I've definitely got some of that imagery on things. Emu and kangaroo. I've got some of those. Yeah, the lyrebird, swans, koalas, flowers. Emu again up here. The Sydney Harbour Bridge. The Sydney Bridge again. It's funny how it's just shortened to Sydney Bridge. Maybe that's what it was called initially. Or maybe it was just too much to write Sydney Harbour Bridge, so it was shortened down. And then I love these ones with words in them. So Lone Pine, greater love, rest in peace. I guess greater love hath no man, and referring to those that went away to fight. And that's very poignant, lest we forget the women raped in wars. Designed and worked by Mary McMahon. Eucalypt spray designed by Mary Card, designed as an alternative view to other women's comments about war in earlier fancy work. So it was a reflective piece looking back on the tradition. I think, Mary, where was it? Mary McMahon, she was one of the people that was putting on the exhibition where they were collecting up examples, but obviously creating their own examples too. And this one, 1976 to 77, terrace houses, wreath, dagger through dollar symbol, people with fists upraised, and the City of Sydney coat of arms declares who killed Juanita. Developers now save Victoria Street. Designed and worked by Francis Budden, Sydney, in political support of Victoria Street resident action. Wow. So yeah, this is stitching as activism, which is fabulous, and land rights, Aboriginal land, not mining, and Advance Australia. So yeah, fascinating, the stories behind them. Waste not bread, want not. Definitely during the Depression era when food was short. And all the milk jug and jug covers, including ones with the word milk written on them. Butterflies. Lovely birds. A wren with gum nuts. More birds with a nest. Just click on it to make sure we're staying in focus. I'll move it over a little bit. Beautiful basket there. So lots to look at my leisure. I love that one. And yeah, just a lovely way to kind of place some of my pieces in my collection within a frame of this work within Australia. I just had never heard that this exhibition had even happened. So to be able to, through the Sewing Lair, pick up this this book about the exhibition is just, yeah, it's precious. The Song of the Shirt, The Women Who Toiled. So I think some of these were the panels that were up at the exhibition that some of the galleries have subsequently purchased and hold in their collections. The Women Who Toiled, Australian Textile Workers. Textile Factory. And so it talks about clothing and textile industries to 1900, women's work and what it meant. Knitting can cause cancer. People who knit or crochet regularly face the risk of cancer. Chemicals used in knitting wool dyes can cause bladder cancer. Wow, dye-induced cancer, which took up to 18 years to appear, would affect only a small number of women. It does make you think about, when we're using things on our hands and regularly touching things, that's where you do want to know sort of where your things come from. Drawing of embroidered cloth commemorating the historic flight by Amy Johnson, lent by Genevieve Erie, worked by her aunt. So it goes Sydney to Hull, Darwin, Calcutta, Baghdad, Hull. Wow. Amy Johnson. Caring for textiles. So it talks about how to care for them. Ironing them, storage. Isn't that fascinating? It looks like a woven shoe. And then it's got a bibliography. As you may imagine, the research and preparation for the Doily Show has involved many, many hours and months of work. However, the task is not complete and can only be seen as the beginning of investigations into aspects of women's domestic handicraft work. And so, yeah, there was an address there, and that's why I was interested to look up if they were still around and had done any subsequent exhibitions. But I haven't found that so far, but I am going to keep researching. And here's that beautiful doily power. Love that. Love it, love it. So that is, a fascinating book, and I'm sure you'll probably see that come up on my channel again as I start to delve into it. This was a bundle of fabrics I got off a lady on Facebook Marketplace, I think through the Vintage Fabric D-Stash group, including this gorgeous piece that's on the table in front of me. What joyful colours, how lovely is this going to be to thread paint into? So yeah, you can see I'm still very much in my adding brighter colours to my fabric collection. These are 2 pieces of the same one, a beautiful one by Lycian Flower Sugar. This one I thought was lovely. It reminded me of marigolds and the little sort of, marigold puffs that they create. And I thought, this one again would be lovely to do some stitching into. Could even be done in that sort of Maggie Morris style, but then adding the brighter colours. If you haven't seen Annie Claxton's series honouring the amazing Maggie, definitely check it out. Oh, isn't that interesting? This has obviously been cut, and it's got another piece of fabric just on the side. Maybe it was one of those digital prints where they were sort of printing multiple fabrics all from the one roll. These owls I thought would be very cute to maybe make into just some little owl, little hangy-dangy bits, even to hang off a little pouch or something. I thought they were very, very sweet. And you could make a lot of little owly hangy-dangies. Even goes quite nice with that fabric together. Or even just to applique onto little pieces. Here's another one of that. And it must be a digital print because it's got then another fabric sort of printed next to it. But again, this is probably even brighter, more of the sort of Maggie Morris colours, so that could be fun to stitch into. This very sweet Easter fabric, very decent amount of it. Does it have a name? Creative Fabric and Accessories. So I'll have to get my Easter crafting on for next year. I probably should start thinking about Christmas crafting first. And I thought I could cut out like little individual ones of these and turn them into little hanging decorations, or make some little bags, little pouches, because I usually send people home with some little Easter eggs from the table. Here's some beautiful patchwork. And I love how it's, it's the sort of the cheetah's patchwork, but then it's got these lovely flowers over it. It's a floral collection, not sure whose that was, but absolutely lovely. This one I think probably was a sample originally, maybe, or maybe it was just a little piece, a remnant piece purchased. But yeah, Lycian, made in Japan, which is always nice fabric. This very bright, vibrant red, but I love how these all kind of, they're in a theme. Beautiful blue. Here's another piece of that one. Is that the same? Yep. A lovely green. These were all in a bundle, and then I think I bought those other few ones, the owl and the other ones, as separate ones, but from the same seller. And that way it all comes as a single package. Save on postage. And then we can move on to Miss Harry. So let me bring Miss Harry goodies over onto the screen. So Miss Harry, for lovers of fabric and yarn. I haven't been to their in-person shop. I was looking online. I'm always disappointed. I keep missing out on Beck from So Be Curated, on her 1930s fabric bundles, or her mum and son fabric. I've only been able to get one bit of mum and son fabric so far. Her things just sell out so quickly. So I was having a look going, I'd really like to get some more 1930s sort of replica prints, nice bright ones and ones with little animals on them, and I found a bunch of fabrics that fitted the bill on Miss Harry, and they were having a sale on some items, so I jumped in and got them. So it says, thank you for your order. So isn't that sweet? And the little dog people are the best people. And with my little package came some scentless soak, so modern care for the laundry you love. So I'll give that a go. Where is it made? Made in Canada. Wow, that's travelled a long way. And then a lovely little tea tonic, turmeric, beetroot and ginger tea. recover, repair and restore. Might need to have some of that today as well. It's been a busy week at work, but what a lovely time to be here. Sending out a little cheerio to Jen. I was just chatting with Jen before on Discord, and she said she hoped I was looking after myself. I think she knew I'd been having busy times on the work front, and I said I'm ensconced in my craft room with some lovely goodies to look through. So hello Jen, if you're watching. And then this was a gift as well, so lots of little gifts. Sorry about the crustly. And it is Illuminate Sew Along. So I might need to look that up. And it looks like they've given me Sew Daily templates. So a 2-inch lozenge. And so I think these are these just ones where that's the fold over line? I'm going to have to look out how the Sew Daily templates work. Or is this for a sort of a quilt as you go process? But then it's got the little what are those ones called? SDD, whatever that's called, whatever that stands for. And Sew Daily Designs, actually that's what that stands for. And then a 2-inch 6PS. So I don't know if this is all the shapes that are needed. Don't even know how they all go together. But yeah, it's fun to have a play because I've used my Epiflex templates quite a bit, haven't for a while. But yeah, it'll be great to have a play with Sew Daily ones. It's got these little holes in there, so I assume that's used for sort of marking out part of your design. But yeah, I'll look them up. So I might pop those back in so I don't actually misplace any of the templates. And then I'll show you the yarns first of all. So these are Araucania yarns, Lasco cotton kettle dyes. So they're hand dyed by local artisans using small kettles, and these were all in the sale section. So normally they're $22, but they were down to either $12 or $14, I forget which. And I have a big one. I have one in these beautiful colours. It's the same size as this, but I've already unwound it, and I've started putting it into these little miniature bundles because it's going to make it easier to use. I've actually, with that one, I've taken it out into a big loop, and I've cut the end so that I can just pull a long piece like, I've got it hanging up next to me. So I can then cut, I'll pull out a long piece like this and then just get a few of those and wrap them up into a little bundle like this, which makes them easier to use and less prone to knotting. But they're cotton. And what I've discovered is you can either use them in their full width form, or you can actually take them apart and use a single strand of them. So let me just show you what I mean. And so you get a lovely individual strand, and I'll be showing you an update on a project I'm working on in another video, but let me just give you, I'll just hide away most of it, but I'll just show you a tiny bit of it to show you how you can then use it. So I use the full width thickness of it around the outside, but then I've whipped it with a single thickness just to sort of soften it down, and then I've used it in this one to just start sketching out the petal, and I think it's giving a lovely variegation, lovely colour, and it's going to, I think, look very good once it's all put together. So that's that one. Put that up and use that in that project. I've got then these beautiful yellows and oranges and blues. Got this sort of softer pink, and then I've got this lovely vibrant with again plenty of colour variegation through it. So I think that's great value for $12 or $14 for these ones in the specials basket. And I think they still had some left in their sale section. There were other colours as well. I just picked these ones out to have a bit of a go with. I was wondering, could I use it kind of like I used either the perle or the wools, and it's definitely lovely to stitch with, and the colours are really pleasing to the eye. So then onto the fabrics. So I picked out some individual fabrics and then some fabric bundles. So we'll start with the individual fabrics. here we have another one of what they call the cheetah patchwork fabrics, and they're great because you can then just use them in a pouch and just stitch around them and it will look like patchwork, but patchwork without any of the normal effort of lining up and creating all these individual little sections. This one has strawberries on it, so I might keep that to use with my strawberry project, which is still percolating in my mind and will be coming up. Another one of the cheetah patchworks, again in the beautiful vibrant colours, got quite a vintage feel to it. Dear my friend, hello, love. Again, got some little strawberries, so again that can probably go in my strawberry pile. There might have to be a sort of a strawberry project with pinks and blues and one more with reds. Also love birds and have a bird project brewing as well, and I thought these were very, very sweet. So just got some little sections of these. But again, plenty to use, because even these little ones you can just cut individual ones out to use as part of, just add applique on or add as little scrappy bits to your projects. These are some, I guess, Eastery inspired, although I suppose it doesn't have to be Easter. These ones do have some little Easter eggs in there. And I thought, again, they would just make lovely little Easter decorations. So put one of these in, put a backing fabric on, or put two of them, cut them out in a sort of an Easter egg shape would work probably for these as well. They'd probably have enough room around them to do that. And then you could put two against each other and put some stuffing in the middle and just make a lovely sweet little Easter decoration, or again applique them onto a little Easter pouch. And again, I must have had Easter, but again, it was just because of the little animals. This doesn't have to be Easter. It's just got these sweet little bunnies and the polka dots. But they're nicely spaced out. Again, if you want to take them off maybe with a little circle around them or an oval around them and add them to your work, you can do that. Now this bundle, probably should take it off properly. Actually, I'll leave it tied because I'll probably slip them back into the bundle and keep them together for now. So this one is from the story book, and it's a bundle on the site. I might have got one of the last bundles of one of these, so they might not have all of it, but I'm sure you could always reach out to them. So I think this is it doesn't say on the label, is that a fat quarter? I know these ones are fat quarters, so let's just compare size. I think these are both fat quarter bundles. So I'll leave those back over there, not get my bundles mixed up. And so yeah, beautiful feedsack inspired, 1930s inspired fabric. Again, just couldn't resist. Probably don't need more fabric, but I don't have as many. I do have some original feedsack, but it's only little pieces and some that's already sewn into a quilt. So yeah, really happy to be adding some others to my bundle, to my stash. So I think I might have to do some sort of little quilting project. It'd be lovely with these to use some of the more detailed ones, like these beautiful little animal ones. These have little cats playing drums and pianos. Probably need to bring you down a tiny bit closer for, I think, these little detailed prints. I'll just make sure I'm in focus. So that's that one. And then this is this beautiful one again. This one's got like a little embossed design on it, and it's got flowers and little cherries and things. So I'm not sure how well you'd be able to see that. I might bring my light a bit closer. This one again has just got those little sweet characters from those 1930s children's sort of fabrics. Got Humpty Dumpty, little Bo Peep, three little pigs, I assume that is, the cow that jumped over the moon. This one, sweet little flowers on a trellis and dots. I love these little ducks wearing little hats. Incredibly sweet. Again, beautiful. Love the little check gingham design in the centre of the flowers. We've got another colourway of the cats playing. Some more ducks wearing hats. Love that. Flowers again, similar, different colourway. Little boys playing with their dog. I love the dogs on it. The little girls too. Yeah, little girls. Again, our cats and then some lovely florals. So that's that bundle. That's the storybook bundle, which I'll just put my band around so I don't get it messed up. It's actually quite useful leaving that ribbon tied because I can get it put back. It's not quite as neat as when it arrived, but I can get it put back together. Now, how was this one folded? It's nice when it is all beautifully done to keep it in its nicely folded way. There we go, that way. Is that how that was folded? And then the side, no, into the centre, and then the sides in. And so this has little ducks and cats and rabbits on it. And then little bunnies. So sweet, almost has a Japanese feel to that one. And then this has probably Jack and Jill who fell up the hill, went to fetch a pail of water. So yeah, this is Jack and Jill fabric. And then the sweetest, tiniest little ducks and ducklings. That is so sweet. And then flowers on spotty dotties and little elephants on a beautiful yellow. And then we have, yep, little Bo Peep and her sheep. So this bundle that I'm showing you now is called Story Time. So the other one was Story Book. Yep, and Story Time. If you're looking for the fabrics. Little cats and little birds. Flowers. More of the sweet rabbits in a different colourway. Here's the birds and the cats. Flowers. Rabbits. Little dots. Lovely flowers. Different colourway of the elephants and another colourway of the elephants. So that's that bundle. And we've got about 9 minutes left, so what I might do is show you another little batch of goodies I got from the lovely Edith, who I have had a wonderful glass button bunch of goodies from recently, which I haven't shown you yet, but I got another little bundle of goodies this week, including some beautiful extras from Edith as well. Because I just missed out, she'd posted some beautiful mother of pearl buttons, but then she mentioned she also had, which had sold out, but she mentioned she also had some abalone buttons and incredibly good prices. Apologies for the rustling. I'm just going to pour out the buttons. We won't probably have a thorough look at them, but look out for some upcoming projects using special buttons and finding ways to display them. So two bags full of beautiful shell buttons, and if in some ways I think these are even more interesting than the mother of pearl because they've got so many other colours in them, including like purples. Look at the colours in that. So I'll just give you a little look. Reminds me of being at the beach when you run your hands over these. Like, look at these tiny little ones. Look at that. She's got a little shank on the back. So sweet. But yeah, the colours in some of these, amazing. Just the variation in the colours and even the front to the back. You can use them both directions. Look at this little one, like a leather. It's got a bit of leather attached to it, so it was on something originally. Another one of those little ones. Beautiful, beautiful. See, look at the colours in that, the purples and the blues, the opals. Look at that colour. It's got a tiny little buttonhole bit in the back. Beautiful blues. So yeah, I think these were very, at first I was like, oh, I don't know if they're going to be kind of too dark for what I want to add to my projects, but I just think they're gorgeous. Look at this one covered with a surround of metal. Again, the backs are sometimes even more beautiful than the fronts. Look at this one, a hexagon piece. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely stunning? You can probably hear the wind whipping outside. It's a very windy day. Travis and I nearly did get blown away on our walk before we went up to Kirill Park. They're putting in a new sort of elevated park pathway, so we're keeping an eye on that. It's not quite ready yet for us to walk on, even though Travis decided last week that he would have a little pre-walk on it. Then he was stuck in a section looking through. I was on the other side on the grass, but he just had to go to the end and sort of get off the walkway. They're actually building it all the way up. It's quite a steep incline up there, and I think they're going to take it all the way up to the top and join it up, which will be good. So yeah, there are some other mother of pearl ones in here too. But beautiful. I do love. They just feel so cool and lovely. So I will just push those over to the side. And I'm going to enjoy going through these. I might need to curate these into some different sizes or different colours. I'm not sure how I'm going to curate those. And then Edith sent me some lovely extras as well, including some beautiful laces. Apologies for the rustling. She knows I love my vintage bits and pieces, so isn't that beautiful? Again, I'll just make sure we're staying in focus. Some lovely pink trim. Some beautiful brownie lace. And isn't this one lovely as well? Look at that design. So they'll be wonderful to add to my vintage laces. And then I purchased from her a collection of vintage hankies, which you know I do love my vintage hankies. Again, apologies for the rustling. We'll get it over and done with. And I'll get those out, and then there's another bundle of just lovely extras as well from Edith, so thank you so much, Edith. It's all just come so beautifully presented, including some more lovely lace wrapping up. So this one I'm getting out now was actually just a gifted bundle of loveliness. I will keep those bags and reuse them. And so this was a beautiful just little gift from Edith. How sweet. Just adore those colours. Look at them. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm pretty sure it was a gift because I don't remember buying it. If I did, I've totally forgotten. But no, I think it was a. And then look at this one with the lovely leaves on it. It's gorgeous. And then this beautiful piece of lace as well, with flowers on it. They'll be lovely just to cut out and to use, add to things. And then this is the bundle of lovely hankies. So again, I'll just keep you down low so you can see some of the details. Look at the stitching on that. I will bring that up even closer just because I think it deserves a closer look. Look at that. Have to bring you down again. Might bring you down even closer, I think, because that might be of merit for this segment. So absolutely beautiful. And then some more beautiful ones here and here. Some sweet little pansies. These ones might be machine done, I think, but still absolutely. Oh, I don't actually know. Yeah, no, I think it is because it's got a little running thread across there, but very sweet. Some with gorgeous lace edging on them. Look at that. I love the ones with all the lace designs because it's combining my love of hankies and my love of beautiful, beautiful laces. A beautiful design. Very sweet little one. Look at that little clover leaf. Incredibly intricate work on those. Another two. Beautiful stitching on the edge. Beautiful linens as well. So even if you ever get these that are damaged, you can use the linen from the middle and the lace from the edge, or just use sections of them. But I do have an idea to make a little book of for keeping my special hankies. I'm just going to bring the light over because I feel like maybe we're getting just a bit dark. See if that will help a bit. Another gorgeous one. I'll move those out of the way. Beautiful flowers. I'll go through these quite quickly. I don't want to make this video too long. Another sweet one. Love these rainbow effects. Butterflies. Embroidery, lacework. So yeah, this was an incredible bundle. Can't resist a bundle. It's a great affordable way to add to your collection, and you can share some of them if you've got ones that are duplicates or too many. But these hankies are just, yeah, useful in so many different projects. There's a lining for a little square fold pouch, which I'll be showing you more of as well, because it's sort of finished because the edges are already finished. So if you make your sort of pouch that size, you've got a lining that's already finished, or you can even leave some of the edging poking out from the pouch as well. Would be very sweet. So I'll be sure to show you some ideas for that. So we are at the hour mark, so that was just a quick little glimpse at the lovely goodies from Edith. So thank you so very much, Edith, and stand by for another video where I will share the gorgeous glass buttons I got from, did I say beads before? Glass buttons I got from Edith, and some project ideas for how you can display and use them. So take care, everyone. Hope you're having a beautiful day or a beautiful evening, and I will speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.